Hello and welcome to episode 136 of Nugget's Dungeon Terrain. In this episode, I'll be adding to the zombie apocalypse dungeon crawl tiles that I've been working on. In this episode, I'll mostly be working with polymer clay and XPS foam. This terrain is going to be a strategic bottleneck. It's going to come in the form of a barricaded checkpoint. Because this tile piece is going to fit with a dungeon crawl style game, I don't need to taper the edges to make it fit with the tabletop. Here you can see I'm using a cheap polymer clay to make sandbags. The polymer clay sticks to each other nicely, but it doesn't like to stick to XPS foam, so I can work straight on the piece and work out the sizing that way. I always pop the clay in at the manufacturer's suggested temperature. However, I usually double the baking time. Here I'm using a piece of XPS foam to represent a concrete block, and I'm going to put through a thin piece of balsa as a boom gate. The muddying effect is to show where most of the traffic has gone, but it's also suggesting to the players that this is the playable area. I've become a really big fan of Yoo-hoo glue, not just because I'm getting it for $1 a tube, but also because it's that happy medium between hot glue and super glue. It dries fairly quickly, but also leaves you with plenty of time to manipulate the pieces. It's also super friendly sticking pieces of XPS foam to other items. Here I'm putting an indentation and sticking in a magnet. The concrete block and the boom gate will also have a magnet, and I'll be able to lift the whole piece off, just in case it gets in the way of the action. I figure in a zombie outbreak, people might not necessarily have all of the resources at hand and may have to improvise even something like a more official checkpoint. So I didn't continue the sandbags all the way through, and instead I'm going to use a corrugated iron effect on the last portion. Just as I've done in a lot of the other post-apocalyptic terrain, I've used corrugated card to represent corrugated iron. Some final touches included adding some tufts of grass and this blood effect. I put most of the blood on one side of the boom gate because I wanted it to look like the barriers and the boom had mostly done their job, giving a bit of an impression about which side would be the in and which side would be the out.